So, hello everyone, welcome back to the session 10 of our School of AR. And this is Varun Bansal, your host for the session. And let me welcome Naveen sir for today's session as well. So, I hope it's going to be an insightful session on Multipeer API. So, without any delay, let's begin with the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Varun. Thank you so much. And hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well, and welcome to the session number 10. And we are going to learn about Multipeer API, which is at the same time super interesting because of the video calling effect. So you're kind of taking your learnings from Spark AR to a video calling effect. Right now, the kind of effect we make, they just run on one user. So whoever opens those filters, they work on them. But when you talk about multi-peer API, it means your peers, your friends who are simultaneously on a call with you. So suppose if there are 4 participants or there's 6 participants, wonder how many participants can be there. But for all of them, if you apply that effect, there could be some interactions based on actions. If the user 1 is reacting differently, user 2 acting differently, we could generate a different sort of pulse for different participants, and that makes it more fun, that makes it more interactive, that makes multipeer, that makes Instagram filters to be able to play games which like multiple user can play together. So that is why it's super interesting. And you can download the unfinished project from the same folder where we put things. And I'm gonna give you that as well. So give me a moment. I think you already have this link, but still I'm gonna share it with Varun. Varun, can you please share this with everyone? And there you can find a group effect with Multipeer API, and that would be your unfinished project. And hi, Jessica. Hi, Praveen. Hi, Kush. Very good evening. And hi, Sarang. Hi, Richie. I hope you're doing well. And welcome to the session number 10. Okay. I'm going to quickly share my screen, and we're going to start with the basic template. And we're going to talk about what does it mean to actually work on multiplayer or group calling effects. So hi, Sayed. Hi, Mohag. And okay, going to start my I'm waiting for my screen to be shared. So just wait a minute. Hi, Bharti. Good evening to you as well. Okay, I hope you're able to see my screen now. And haven't missed anything yet. We're just starting with a new concept called multipeer APIs. Just gonna tell you what are our expectations from the effect. So just to show you the basics of what's going to happen in the filter, like what's going to be we're going to do to the final output of the expectations. And then so this effect is a couple of rectangles, one of the for the user and one for the background. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the background based on anyone who clicks on who taps on the screen. And for an example, if you have like 4 users in the call, then any of them, if does a screen tap, then it's going to change the background for every one of them. This could be useful if you're like presenting something on a video call where you're kind of you're sitting somewhere and you're augmenting that, okay, I'm in Paris and there's Eiffel Tower in the back. but then some of the other friend decides to put you in a different city, and then let's say, oh no, you're not in Eiffel Tower anymore. Now you're, let's say, in Spain, or you're in Brazil, or you're somewhere else, and you're in India, you're in Delhi, or you're somewhere else. So we could change those backgrounds, like just on a screen tap. And if I do screen tap, so this is my user. This is the user, the one who is calling, the one who is making the call. And if I screen tap, of course, that works for me. But how do I know that? How do I know? How do I, like, how many other participants are there? Because I'm able to see the simulator for me, other users, other participants in the call, in a group call, they're also able to see the filter and themselves, and a big background as well. So what is it that is different? What is it that can show me all the participants? So we have like a Spark AR player. There are two ways to access it. You can go to File and Preview in Spark AR for desktop. But to be able to do that, you first have to download Spark AR desktop. It's a player, like Spark AR player for desktop. So it's right on the website. You can go here, and you can see that there's the latest Spark AR Studio. This is the studio we work in. We make filters, and there's a Spark AR player app which you can install in your phones to test out how your effects looking. Instead of like we send links to Instagram, and if we test there, we could also download this app, and we could test it directly in the phone. And there's this for desktop. So instead of sending your effects to your phone or Instagram, you could directly just see how it's looking on your desktop. So depending on your Spark AR Studio, you can choose the version of your Spark AR player for the desktop. So for an example, I have version number 37 for my studio. So I will also check for Spark AR player for, I have a Mac. So I'll download this version 137. And if you're just working with the latest versions altogether, then you don't have to worry about going to the versions. Latest version are always here on the top, so you can always download for the Spark AR Studio and for the desktop. So once you download it, it's going to give you a DMG file for Mac, and it's just going to open. So I'm going to open that player. I think I just recently downloaded it, so I'm going to just open it 137. And when I open it, it has a different logo in here. Like Spark is like with the S, and this player has like a triangle which is angled to its right. And then you can open any effect in this player. For an example, now I want to open this. The one that we're working with is this group effects with Multipeer API. So I'm just going to open it here. Then it gives me this short sort of UI, like a simulator. And I have a couple of options here, like which platform are you testing it? So right now we're just working in Spark, but you could test like, okay, this is like a video call on Messenger, or this is a video call on Instagram. The difference is that like sometimes on Messenger, you have like the user who are talking, they become like small on the screen. So they are here. And the other person who you're talking to, they becomes like full screen. So that only happens when there are only two participants in the call. But if you go for the Messenger, if you go for the Instagram has it divides into two, and then one person comes on the top and one person comes at the bottom. But we're gonna have at least 5 participants. So when I select 5 participants, you'll see that 4 screens are there, and the 5th one is the one which is a user. So this is my user right now in the Spark AR player. If I do something here, that will also reflect in the player. Okay, if I do something in this simulator, that will also reflect in here. So let's test it out. Let me just make it like, so this user is this guy, this in the Spark AR Studio, and the other participants, they're in the Spark AR player, the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they have their unique ID that Spark AR identifies them with that. So like this is like probably ID number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so there's also like this is the actual ID, but we'll just call it like 1, 2, 3, 4 for the sake of convenience. So I'm just going to give it like a different person here and a different person here. So it's easier to understand like, okay, what are we doing? We're actually on a video call, which is which is initiated by me in player. Okay, by me in player. Then there's four friends of mine. This is Anita, and this is some friend Maria. This is Juno, and this is Albeta. This is like four friends of mine. They're in the video call, and what I want to do is that, okay, my friend here, she Maria, she wanted to change the background of every other, so she tapped on the screen, and when she tapped on the screen, you see that everybody on the video call, they have a different background now. On their phones, they have a different background in the. So basically, it decided to that I want to change the background for everybody. So it sent that message over the channel. That message got distributed to each of the participants, and that message was picked up, and that message said, okay, change the background. So we have a like a code that running behind it. That code is telling the filter to change the background when the pulse was triggered. So this is what we're going to implement for the start, but then we can make it like we can do more complex things. We could do some different backgrounds for everyone or different things for everyone. But this is our expectation. Just get familiar with the Spark Air player. It has you can choose number of participants as many you want. You could go up to 10. You could go up to 8. Whatever. Like I think ideally 8 participants are big enough, because after that everything becomes like so small on the phone. If you have like 8 participants, then also like screen is very small, like if you want to have a look at it. So the screens becomes too small, so it's just not like a good UI if you want to test it or work with like a more number of users. For the sake of visibility, we'll just test it with 5 participants including the user, and then there's 4 more. So now we just tested our effect. It works well. Everybody's changing their color background image, and yeah. So to make them sync, also they're not sync right now, so we could always refresh. Yep, and then we can also refresh this. And when you click now, you'll see that everything is synced. Everyone has like a same background in the back of them. Is there any doubt to understand this Spark Air player? I know that this is a new thing that you may not have explored, but just as a testing ground for us, we don't have to do much in here. This is to just pause the fact so that you don't eat up a lot of RAM when you're not using it. So probably if you're not using the player, you can just pause it and resume it when you're coming back. This is just to restart, similar to what we had here, this pause and restart. We also had in a Spark here, so you're familiar with that. And there's this network condition selection, because of course, when we are on a video call, we do this call over the internet. So this exchange of messages that we do is actually depend on the speed of internet speed. Like what do we have? Although we are just sending a pulse or very little messages, but still, like if you have like super bad interconnection, then internet connection, that might take some time. So this is something that we have to consider as well. Like if you have poor conditions or if you have best conditions, because if you don't talk about, let's say we talk about the normal filters, not the video call filters. The normal filters, when I open the filter on my phone, it downloads in this one go. Whatever filter I'm going to use, it just downloads that filter file on my phone and it opens that filter. Now there's no more internet needed unless I want to post that story or something. But if once the filter is downloaded, I don't need any more internet anymore. I'm just good with the filter file. But on the video calling effect, it's not like, because we're on a video call, so we need that connection, internet connection, all the time, and we don't want to miss any messages that are sent to us by the Multipeer API. We want to receive them and we want to act on them. So there are like 3 conditions in here. Like your interconnection is okay, very very fast, it's average, and it's very very bad. So you can just select one of them and just test. You can just choose optimal network connection, which is also okay. It doesn't really matter so much, but still, if you want to test with different sort of internet speeds, then it's a good I think option to that is given by Spark, so that we can change our filters accordingly. Another interesting thing about this is that this you could have a different sort of effect as well. Like right now, we're just doing the same thing for every other participant, but you could select like, okay, no, participant number one should be doing this. Participant number two should be doing something else, and number three should be doing something else, and number four doing something else. So for that, we have to identify that who are we communicating with. So let's just start with the concept now. So if you go to the link and if you find the unfinished project, so I'm going to open the unfinished project. This is where you get. This is how it's going to open. It's going to show you an error, which is in the yellow at the bottom, and I'll tell you why is that as well. So let me just take one more example before we dive into it. So I'm going to close this and wait for a while, and then just a normal simple filter. Okay. What I'm going to do is just a moment. Okay, I hope we're still audible and visible. And okay, so I'm just taking one example to kind of match our own expectations, like why we're doing, what are we doing, why do we actually need a video call, and what does it mean to actually send over pulse when needed. So I'm just simply going to take a plane. This plane is 0.5 and 0.5 and 0.5 and so consider this example just to understand like what we're doing is I'm going to send this guy when I screen tap. I want this plane to move into the right. So this maybe comes here. Then when it reaches here, it needs to tell me that I've reached here. So how do I do that? So my goal is to that this should move into the right. And once it is there, once it has reached, it should give me a message that, okay, I have reached. That's what I want. So to do that, it seems a very simple problem for me. I will just use a screen tap because that's when I want it. Like when I screen tap, they should start moving. So screen tap will give me a pulse. This pulse I can use to create an animation. And this animation should run to make a transition. And the transition could be like this, because right now it is at the 0th position and we're moving into the X. So probably if I move it from 0 to, let's say, 0.1, that will reach almost there. Maybe 0.11 or maybe 0.13, 0.13, still 0.15. It's completely away from the screen. I can see that it's away from the screen. So what I'm going to do is go from 0 to 0.15 and put it rest of the values to 0, no changes in that. And when I screen tap, that should happen. So this is going to take 1 minute, 1 second in the entire process. So when I do that, it's going to be like this. This goes and it reached there. Now it's static there. But to tell me that this happened, to tell me that I've reached, how it would tell me is that this animation gets over when it reaches there. That means I'm going to use this completed pulse. So let's say this is my pulse. Then this pulse should do something when I reach there. So I'm going to reset it every time I do this. This is going to do this every time I put a screen tap. This is going to move. So just to add like a canvas and 2D text, I'm going to just say I have just a message. So I'm going to say that I have reached. Okay. Just an example. Trying to explain something that how we can utilize some of these completed pulse and stuff. Okay, so when this happens, I'm gonna switch the visibility of I have reached. Okay, right now it's visible every time. I have reached is visible every time, but I want it to be shown only when my completed pulse tells me to do it. When I'm actually my this box is there. So I'm gonna use a switch. The switch is gonna take some pulses and give me some booleans. So I'm gonna take the turn on pulse, and this guy can just initially be not visible. Initially not no, no, initially it will be visible like this. So initially it should be not visible. Okay, and once it is reaches there, this should be visible, and if I screen tap again, this should not visible again. So now my what it is that I am going to have an animation which is going to move my plane to the 0.15 in the x direction. When this animation gets over, this should tell me that okay, I've reached, and if I start it again, that should reset everything. So let's see if that works. Very simple setup, but yeah, that works. That means whenever my plane reaches into the destination, it's going to tell me like I've reached. Now, this is a very basic thing. I'm doing it on my local copy of my filter. All right, I'm not doing this as a on my friend's screen, or like if there are people in the video call. So we're doing this for ourselves. We're doing this on the local copy of the filter. But to this pulse, this message that I got into this patch, in this patch, this message has to be transported over the internet. Okay. This pulse has to be transported over the internet to tell a friend of mine that I have reached. So this message should be shown somewhere else so that the other actions can be taken on those screens. So for an example, if this plane passes from here and reaches there, on my friend screen, it should start arriving. Can we do that? Of course, we can do that, right? So we can have a simple plane at that screen as well. We can have a simple plane at that screen as well, and my friend's screen as well. And when this message tells him to that I've reached, that plane can start probably playing from here. So just to simulate this, I'm just gonna duplicate this guy, and also yeah, duplicate this guy. I'm gonna put it at minus. I'm going to put it at minus 0.15, and then I'm going to put it to 0. That means it's going to start from minus 0.5, which is this side of the screen. So, and this animation should be started when this is completed. Okay. Like when my first reach is there, the second one will start from there. And we will take this in the progress. It will again take 1 second. That should control the position of the plane number 2. And as easy as it looks, it is a super easy filter. Now what we're going to do is we can just click at it, and when I clicked on it, so it appears like this plane is actually moving from that and that. So we actually see that these are two different planes. So initially this plane can be a balloon, right? So I can send this balloon to from the right of the screen, and when it reaches there, the balloon can also move from here on my friend's screen, not on my screen. So we need to identify between the users. So we need user IDs. We need a different sort of code to run on my friends filter. So what we do is we make just one copy of the filter, but we change the logics based upon the user who is using it. Okay, so this is something I wanted to explain before we dive into it. So this is like an easier thing to do now. For if you make like some complex filters, and then we should understand that like when should something activate, and how we activate it. We're going to talk about it, of course. But when should activate, we should those logics they're as similar to other filters as well. Like they're not nothing new in the video calling filters. Um, do we have this? Like, is there any questions? We can just write them down. So, okay. Let's start with the unfinished project. I hope everybody can open the project because I'm going to tell you something very unique, which you might not have faced yet because we have not used the script so far. I've included this participant id.js script. The script is actually to to control to make that connection between different users on a video call, and this script outputs you a user id, a particular user id that you can use to identify which user is it. Okay, so first thing, let's fix this first. Right now we have a couple of things in the device and a couple of assets here, but let's fix this warning first. This warning says that there's some error. We're trying to set a signal from script whose name is participant index. Please make sure you define a from script patch that name in the patch editor. So this is, I can see that this is related to my script. So I click on my script and I see that there are two kind of variables, from script and to script. So for now, I'm just gonna add a, we need, because we have from script variable is missing. So we're gonna add a number. It's an index is a number. So we're gonna add a number and we're gonna copy this participant index, copy this and just paste it here. And we're not gonna care about any other, we're gonna just delete everything else. We just need one variable here, which is this participant index, and the rest of the things you can delete. You can delete everything which is here. You can delete everything which is in here also. So just one participant index, and our filter is, our project is quite empty besides it. You can see there's a user, there's a background. The user is me here, which is a rectangle, and I have this user mat. I have a camera texture, which is the person segmentation is the alpha, so that you don't see my background, you just see me. And my background is the bunch of images which are selected in the background material. Right now it has background 1, so that's just showing background 1. So now understand another thing, that how this works, how video calling effect works. So we just upload one file in Spark AR, and that file equally loads on every participant. Now, so the build, the software is same, but we could tell our patch editor to just do actions based on the number of based on the user ID. So if my user ID is 0, then I'm the user. My participant ID, my user ID is 1, then my friend number 1 should do something else. So we will decide those actions based on who is using the filter. All right. Okay. There are a couple of patches. Okay, about the script and variables, don't worry about it. This script was made by Dude SG. You can follow his work on Instagram. He's great. Always brings new stuff to Spark AR, and always exciting to watch his work. There was another script which was default by Spark, but this is much better. This is a good way to know the participant ID, and it's a very small script. There's nothing much to it. So even if you don't know scripting, there's no worry about it. You don't have to go inside it and like see what's happening and what's not, because what we wanted to do as we wanted the user ID, and we have the user ID, and then that's all we need from this script. You just include it in your project and don't have to worry about it, like what's written inside, and there's nothing. Whatever we're gonna do and what's written in the script, we can do in the patches as well. So we'll just kind of try to do the same thing that's also happening there. Okay, so all right, let's say I want a screen tap, of course. So I want a screen tap. That's what I want to do to make this effect. So if I do screen tap, and this is screen tap, what the screen tap should do, it should change the background of my back. Okay, so right now, if I test this effect, this is my unfinished project. So every time you test it, you have to save it, and open the player, and whichever you're opening, you have to open that effect. So my effect is in okay. So this is the effect, and if I have, by default we'll test with 4 participants and one is the user. And now if I do anything, there's nothing happening because I don't have anything else. Like my project is as simple as that we have a bunch of backgrounds, and the only one background is assigned to my material right now, which is the this one, and my material is background mat. This is assigned here, so nothing else. And so nothing's going to happen. Nobody does, nothing's going to happen. So what we want to do is we want to screen tap and change the background. So to do that, we have to have a counter. Sorry, we have to have a counter, which is counter, and this counter will increase the number that we are selecting, and we have to give this number to an option picker, where we'll select some number of textures, and each of the textures can have like some sort of background. So number one is let's say the number one is this one, number two is my Spark AR poster, number three is design A1, number four is design C, and number five is design B. All right, so there are like 5 backgrounds I have. I'm going from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and as soon as I reach 5, it's going to jump to 0 and then restart the cycle again. So now this option picker outputs texture, and this texture could be diffused to my background. So I'm going to do that. And if now my simple setup of screen tapping will increase a counter from whatever this previous number, and it'll add +1 to it. And based on the number selection, I'm going to have a background, and this is going to be assigned to this material. So now if I do this to this guy, you can see that that's working. This is assigning. If you click on here, this is number 1. If you click on 2, this is number 2, and 3 and 4, and like that. So if you click again, this is going to come back to 0. Now let's test this into our player. Like, is it working here or not? So we have to reload it again. So unfinished project, and select number of participants as 5 again, because we're going to test with 5. And if I do this, so I can see that this guy is changing, and this is another, and this is another, and this is again a different guy. Okay, so 4 participants. I'm changing. They can see now. So this is a group call. Okay, this is a group call. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four people here. If I tap on my own screen, I can see that I can change my background. If Anita also taps in her own screen, she can also change her background. So everybody is able to do this on their own. So because right now we have not added any logic, because whatever I'm doing on my screen has nothing to do what my friends are doing in their screen, because I don't know what they're doing in the screen. So we need to make that channel. We need to make this like, so if I do this, it should change everybody's background. But right now it's not the case. So that is why we need some sort of mechanism to send those messages. So there are 2 patches that we will be talking about. It's called multipeer. When you say multipeer, you'll see that there's multipeer send and there's multipeer receive. So right now we want to send the message. So let's go to the multipeer send. And this multipeer send is nothing but it takes a pulse. Like, for an example, we had that completed pulse when our plane reached somewhere, and then we wanted to send a pulse. So probably it's that pulse, because we can only send messages in the way and in the form of pulse. But there are some methods also. So you can send a vector 3 data in a pulse with a pulse, and you can also send vector 2 data as a pulse in the pulse, and you can also send a number as a pulse. So we will also talk about them. Right now, let's just do a very simple thing. So I know that this is my pigeon. This is my pigeon of the old times. It's going to fly with that message that I'm going to send, and it's going to deliver to all my friends. Okay. So this pigeon has a topic. Like, there can be so many pigeons, there can be so many messages. So we need to identify those messages, Like let's say if we have like a bigger project, and the bigger project has like bunch of messages that we're sending, so we need to identify which message are you sending, so that when we receive it, we can look back, okay, this is what we're receiving. All right. So I'm gonna send like change, since it's a topic, so we can say like change bg topic. We can just write it like that, change bg topic. And okay, this is my multiplayer send. And this send should change when I screen tap. So whenever I screen tap, there should be a, I should tell everybody that okay, I screen tapped. Okay. So if I screen tap, this event is going to be send on this channel. Okay. Now I've sent this on a channel. Now I want to receive it somewhere else. Okay. So when I receive it, um, I'm going to receive this thing to, let's say, multiplayer receive. And now it's asking what topic are we receiving. So we're receiving this topic. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it here. So now, whenever I screen tap, this message would go, and it will tell everybody that increase your background, like increase your counter, so that you have a different background, just like me. So that means I don't have to anymore do this. I just have to give this event. Okay. Now let's test it. What I did is I I sent this over the internet, over the to my friends, and I received on those friends' phone that okay, change the background. All right. So I'm gonna just save it and test it on this one again. Again, unfinished project. And when I open it for five participant again, and just to identify each of them, we're gonna just change their simulator. Okay. Now, if I screen tap on this guy, the first Maria, I can see that everybody changed their background. So this is working. This is working now. Now everybody's changing the background. They're receiving that pulse, and they're changing the background. But it's not working for her herself. So why is that? Why is this happening? But because when we are sending something, we are sending to others and others are receiving. We're not sending to ourselves. We are sending this message everywhere else, but we are not sending to ourselves. So we have to do this for ourselves also. That means that I know that this was what we were doing earlier. Like this is what we were doing earlier when it was working for us. But when we said like no, no, don't take this, take this received pulse that I sent to everybody else. So that means I missed the one that I was doing for myself. So I'm gonna do a pulse merge here. Pulse merge is like when either this pulse or this pulse, if it gets any of them, it's gonna activate this. So this is my new setup now, that now it's gonna work for myself. Now it's gonna work for everybody else as well. So let's save it, come back to it, close it, and open it again. Go to the five participants, and now you see that we have to change this. Okay, change to this, and this is just for presentation. Even if you don't change them, nothing's gonna change. But just so that we know that we have different participants everywhere. And if I click on this one, everybody's changing their background. If I click on this one, everybody's changing their background. Click on this one, anywhere you click on any of the screen, it's gonna do the same thing for all of the participants. So this is the basic overview of how this works, how this multiplayer patches work. It's a very simple example that we have done, but it's powerful. It's powerful to create a lot of effects. I'm gonna come back to and wait for your questions. Is this clear? Any doubts before we go any further? Anything that you don't understand about this? So let me know. We can talk in detail about that. So I'm just gonna get to. Yep. Go ahead, guys. If there are any questions, let me know so I can take care of them. No more questions? Do we understand everything? Let me know so that I can go ahead. Were we able to open the unfinished project, and were we able to get rid of the error that we got in the starting? Right now, we don't have that error, I think. Okay, Jessica says, do we always need to use the pulse merge? Jessica, no, we don't have to always use it. So understand this, that this multipeer is its name is multipeer. So it's gonna send your messages like this screen tap. It's gonna send to all the peers. Okay, so it's not gonna send to ourselves like your. Let me also take an example of. I do a little bit of drawing for you so that because I know it's a little bit overwhelming when this comes to like how the same code is working differently on different devices, on different users for that matter. So I'm gonna. Okay, so we'll do the drawing a little while because this is not really charged at the moment. But let me try to explain you here. What it does is that this multipeer send is only goes for the participants. Okay, so when I'm the user, when I'm the one who is sending it, who is sending that click pulse, sending that tap pulse, then that won't execute over my copy of the filter. Okay, so let's try to imagine this again. Okay, now this whatever this file is, whatever this code is, okay, this entire code is common for all the users. Okay, it's common. Like when I load the filter, this is what my phone has, this is my friend's phone has, and this is everything everybody's phone has. And when I screen tapped on my phone, then every other friend of mine received this. Because of this multiplayer received, it received a pulse which changed the background for everybody else, but I did not receive that pulse. Okay, if I don't use the merge, and if I use just like this, I never received that change pulse, so it would not happen for me. So that is why we do this pulse merge. That okay, do the participants, but do also do me, also do the changes for me. If you don't want to do that, like if let's say your filter is if your filter is that when I screen tap everybody should change but not me, then fine, then it's a perfect deal. But our goal was our goal was to change all the backgrounds. That is why we did a pulse merge. It's not compulsory that you have to use every time, but it is when you want to change everything for everyone, then probably because you don't want to exclude yourself. That is why we do this pulse merge. Hope that's clear. Okay. Okay, that's great. That's great. We understand this. Pretty easy actually. There's nothing much to it. Which is like it's just a bit new. I think new capability, but nothing difficult in this. Anyhow. Now let's say we have something else. We want to have a let's import asset. Let's import some assets from the 3D object. Let's go for a hat or something. Probably like hat. I can see some hat here. There's some hats, and okay, this looks good. This looks good as well. Okay. Okay, let's go with this one, this propeller hat. It's quite popular. About 4,500 downloads of this. Okay, so when I do this, I have this hat in my assets. I need to apply this on my face tracker. Okay, so if you're using segmentation in the filter, then you can't use face tracking. So um, because of the I think functionality issues, so it's gonna say that okay, you can't use this. So we have to remove the segmentation from our effect now. So I'm just gonna delete the rectangle which is holding the user. Just deleted that, and this background we don't need it anymore. So I'm just gonna hide it. So right now we just nothing else. We just ourselves in the filter. We're not actually using this anymore. So I'm just gonna keep it for some sort of reference. Have a face tracker. Um, Okay, so if I have my face tracker now, I can use this because I deleted the person segmentation, so it enabled me to okay, I can use it. Use the face tracker, and in the face tracker, this hat should be at the top of my head. So I'm gonna put it on the face tracker. It's super big right now. It's so big that it just covers everything. So I'm just gonna do like point 0.1 and point 0.1 and point 0.1. It's a bit smaller right now, so I can manage it to like I can pause it like this, and I can just click up and uh, make it a little bigger than this, maybe probably 0.13 and 1.3 and 1.3. So it looks like it is in the perfect position for the Y, but for the Z, it's kind of a little ahead. So I'm going to pause it again and push it in the back. And if you want to like place it very accurately, what you have to do is there's a head occluder as well. Like in the AI library, you can go there, or also on the Spark assets, you have head occluder. But there you get I think you get a block or something for the head occluder. So you go to the block, or same thing. You can also just download the occluder, but yeah, head occluder. So head occluder is just like a shape of head, which helps you to put things in perspective. So we'll just download this, and once you download the block, it's going to come here. We're just going to right click and instantiate it. Once you instantiate it, you'll see that this guy is right here right now. So it's easier for me to kind of you know use this to make the placement. All right, so again, I think when you use this one here, you can't really see, you don't have like control over the opacity of this. So it's maybe not so intuitive. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to tell you the other way as well. So go to the welcome screen. There's a welcome screen, like help, a welcome screen. There's something that we see when the first time we open it, and then go to learn. When you go to the learn, you can you can just go down there, and then using the face reference assets. So you click on it. When you click on it, you'll be redirected to a page, and then you see the face reference assets. Just click on them. It will download some files for you. And when it downloads some files, those files are like this. I go to downloads and then face assets. There are some textures that you get, like this is a face mask PNG that we might use sometimes. I'll tell you what it does. And there's this masculine texture, and there's a feminine texture, and there are some points, like where the eye. So these are useful when you're trying to draw something, let's say outside Spark. Let's say I want to draw an eyeliner or something, so I can just take it into the Photoshop, and I can just draw something here these points. And when I import the texture, not the with the net and dots, but I import the texture whenever I make changes, I can just use that directly on my face. So we can also do this an example. Then there are some meshes, like head occluder is there, and this is different face mesh objects. we're going to do the head occluder. So we're going to import this head occluder. So what we did is we downloaded the assets and we imported them in here. And I'm going to just create a null object, maybe just to, and I'm going to call it occluder. And this is going to go inside that. And now I see that I can see that some sort of material on this thing, and I can control this material like right in the properties because of this has a material. I can make to 0, I can make to like something like that, put it on alpha or 0 or make it super white. So now I know that my head somewhere is bigger than my head. So I can now adjust my head to be better position. Like, okay, it should go a little ahead. It should also a little come down and also be 0.11, maybe 0.11 and 0.11. And now I see it's in the much better shape, much better position. And yeah, I can see that this is looking much better, and I can go ahead, go to the Lambert and just take this opacity to 0. If you also do this to on the up, yeah. So if you put the occluder on the top of your hat, you will see that you don't see the back part of the cap. So now it looks like, okay, I'm wearing the cap, right? So what we're gonna do now, and the cap is right over my head. Everybody should be having this cap, because this is like, there's no, like, if I go and test the filter now, each of them, each of my players, uh, each of my participants, they will have the cap on themselves. So if I go to 4, 5, I see that everybody's wearing the cap. Every participant of them is wearing the cap. I actually can make the cap a little bigger as well, because right now it's a bit small. So maybe 0.12, 0.12, and again 0.12. So looks much better, looks much bigger than the earlier. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Anything? Okay. Just keep them in, so that when I check them, I can just answer them. Okay. All right. What else do we want to do is that so right now it's just appearing on the, so we should have some sort of interaction. Let's say when I nod my head, like this cap should like come on the head. Okay. So to do that, all I can do is I need to change the position of it. So first of all, let's do that. So I'm going to delete these guys. Now we're not using them anyway. So deleting them. Okay. Nothing changes. We're not using this background as well. So deleting that as well. We're just talking about this cap. Um, when we talk about this cap, we want to change position of this cap. Initially, we don't want it to be visible at all. And but once I do this, then probably it should come down or something. So let's do this. Then we want to change the position of this. Okay. And initially the position is, let's have an animation, and this animation should be triggered when I do the head nod. So head nod is done. So I need to have a face tracker. This face tracker will select the face number 1, which is me. And when this face has a head nod, you can just go and select head nod. So whenever the head nod happens, it's going to give you a pulse. So as soon as I detect the head nod, so let's try to test it. So right now it's 0. Okay, so I'm going to reset it again. When I do this, you can see the changing the values. The head nod is detected, and that it gives the pulse to this guy. So when this happens, I should have a transition, and this transition should change the Y position of the hat. So let's say initially this could be like, initially, in the end, I know that this is where I want it. In the end, it should be here. and the Z as well in the end should be here. But when it starts, so let's say I wanted to the top on the top of like very much top, like maybe zero point 0.6 or something, maybe 0.7. So from zero point 0.7, it will come down to this point, and this is how it should be. So initially, it's not visible. When I do this should come out my head. Okay. When I do this again, it should come on my head like that. Okay. So I can refresh and I can test it again. If I do this, the cap will come on my head, and this is like we could make a little curve a little smoother, and I can see that the cap is coming on my head. Also, like when I see that if I'm moving my head like this, I can see the cap is there in the back because we have it's following the head and everything. So if head nod is not detected, then I'm gonna make it invisible so that that artifact is gone. So what I need to do is use this visibility, and when head nod happens, I'm gonna have a switch, and the switch is going to uh, turn on and give it like a visibility. Okay, and when that's gone, I need to turn it off. So if so right now I can see it, but when I do this, I can see it. And if I do this again, yeah, that makes sense. Well, this is okay for now, but maybe later on we'll also find a logic to turn it off, the visibility as well. So right now that works, that works, and that should work for each of the participant. Like okay, right now we're not sending it on Multipeer. This is the same effect, but we should send it on Multipeer. Then let's do this on Multipeer. But everybody, if any of them, any of the person had not, they should go for all of them. Right now, what is the situation? Right now, the situation is, sorry, okay. We close it and we open it. Okay, now she had not. Okay, it should be faster. The head nod should be faster. We have 4 participants. So we have 5 participants now, and let's have this guy nods. No, this guy nods. Okay. Let's see if any of them nods, they will have the cap on their head. If I nod, I'll also have the cap on my head. So anybody who does the head nod, they will have the cap on their head. But not everyone, like not everyone will have it. To make that happen, we have to make the multi-peer patch working. So I know most of you can guess where should it be connected. While I'm doing it, try to think where should the multipeer, which pulse should we send over the multipeer API, and then how do we do it? So this is the change that's happening. This is the pulse this is the head nod pulse which is going to this. So probably my work is done between these patches. So if I take this as a multipeer sender, and I say this is head nod topic. It's not necessary to put topic in the end, but it's better because later on, sometimes we send topic, sometimes we may send the values in the data, not using this, but still we should separate them. So you can, it's good practice. You can choose or not to like use the topic in the end. So this is what I'm sending, and this is something which is receiving the transition and doing the transition. So I'm going to use that receiver, multipeer receiver. Remember, if you right click on it, it's going to create a receiver also. But this receiver is not useful for us, okay? We have to use a multipeer receive and copy this and paste this. So we will receive the messages sent by this one in here, and we'll just give it to this guy and also reset it if it does it again. And again, the same thing. Now the user who is doing the node will not get the cap, but everybody else would get the cap because we're not passing the self yet. Closing it, opening it. using it with 5 participants and giving those participants a different person again. And let's see who does the head nod this time. I'm not going to do. And she did. No, that's not being detected. Head nod should be faster. This guy is okay. No, who's doing it? Okay. I think let me do it. That was a head nod. Yeah, it's just not being detected because they're kind of like looking down. They're not heading the nod. Not head nod is like this. So everybody should get the cap, but they're not getting the cap. I think we have to restart our effect. Have we saved our effect, by the way? We have. Oh, okay, okay. No, no, no. Should be working. Let's try it one more time. What happens? So let's have 4 participants, and I'm the one doing it. I'm getting it, not the other. Oh, okay. This is not getting it. Why is she not getting the? The thing is that if I do head nod, so all of them they consider this a head nod, but I'm not the one doing the head nod here. Okay, so I think 3 of us got it, but I should not get the cap according to me. I because I'm the one who's doing it. So let's do a merge in here now. So this was the pulse merge with the original pulse, and if we merge these pulses, then we should have a play. This is a new pulse, and let's try to make it work. The visibility, it's okay for now. Visibility, we're not sending over the multiplayer right now, but we should, any which ways, we should send it any also to be able to work differently for everybody else. But for now, just keep it like that. I'm just going to close it because this is sometimes just troublesome. So, um, okay, we're working with the unfinished one, and just want to test it with myself first. So my participant one is me, let's say. So if that works, that works. I'm gonna do this for 5 people now, and the second one is this. Yeah, that's the second one. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure why we can't see it in here. It should be visible. The caps should be visible on of all of their heads, but it's just visible on my head. We have a sender topic and we are receiving it, and then we are sending it to. Just gonna delete this one for now and try. It's probably because of the. Let's try again. Okay, now we're getting it. So it was probably that visibility that was not letting it show on different sites. So we will, because we have to send that on Multipeer as well. Okay, so now we have 4 instances of it. This one is the other girl, and this is the other guy, and this is me. and I want this guy to head nod so that everybody has the. No, he's not head nodding. Okay, he did. He did. Okay, so when he made the head nod, everybody has the cap now. So let's also do something like if it is an interesting game, then we can make it like, let's see, if I head nod, then it's coming down, but if I shake my head or my blink my eyes, it should go back. Okay, because yeah, that's what I want. So now it's simpler. Like we have set up our message channel. This is my message channel. Like this is how my message is forming, and this is how it's going. And what I want to do is I want to send another message. Okay, is to take it back, and that message is that head nod we have used. We're going to use a blink. So when I blink, if I have a blink, I will do another multiplayer send, because now it's a different message I'm sending. So I need a different topic. I need a different sort of. This is my sender, and I'm gonna say that this is my blink topic. And when I send this blink topic, I want to receive this blink topic as well. So when I receive it, no, not receiver. I have to use a multipeer receiver. And when I receive the same topic, I'm going to copy this, paste it here, and reverse it. I just want to reverse this to go away. Okay, so I don't need the reset anymore. I just don't need to reverse that thing. But again, I want to reverse for my sender also. So I'm going to use this. This is my sender and this is my receiver. So I'm going to use a merge with it. When I use the merge with that, and also whatever I sent to that, and so if I directly connect this is only going to work for the user, but this is all the participants. So now it works for both the user and the participant, and I'm going to reverse it. And this should give me everything. This should take the cap away, and this should bring it back, and then like that. So let's test it out. I have 5 participants again. This is number 1. This is 2 is number me, and the 3 is this guy, and the 4th is this guy. All right. So if I now do blink, then things goes away. Yeah, but that should not happen, because that should only happen when the cap is here, but the cap is not here, then it starts to like go away. All right, so first we bring it back. Now it's here, and then somebody blinks and this goes away. So let's do this, that if my position, if my head is on my head, then only I should do this blink change. So to detect it, how do I make sure that my head is on my head? That means whenever this happens, this not happens, it's gonna give me a play. So I can check something, which is the position of this head. Okay. So what I want is that right now, if I blink, it goes away, and if I not, it comes back. But if I directly blink now, it goes away. It goes away. So that shouldn't happen. It should only happen when that is down, the head is down. So we need to find logic to do that. So probably what we can do is, I think. So we are making a head nod, we're blinking, but we should only be able to blink if the hat is on my head. And how do we know that hat is on my head? We know this because of this pulse merge. Because every time somebody did it, it should be down. If you did it again, it should be down. Did it again, should be down. So we take this pulse and we'll create a switch here. This switch is going to give me some true or false values. So if I did this, it's going to be true. But if it goes back, if I blink, if I blink, if this blinks, then it should be turned off. Okay. So if I blink, it should turn off. If I come down, this is on the head. If I blink, this is on the top. That means I can utilize this to send this. Okay. So I'm going to use a if then else, and if this condition is true, then this pulse should go through, else it should not go through the reverse pulse. So that means if I blink now, there's nothing is happening. But if I do this and if I blink now, oh, okay, if I blink now, then this should not be. Okay, so we're going to use a not here. Now, so the turn off, for the turn off, we have to use something else, because if we turn it off here, then we can't send it from here. So what we can do is we can probably delay it a bit, maybe 0.1 second. This is just a workaround because it's not the right solution. Coming down, coming up, coming down, going up. Yep, not coming down now. If I'm blinking directly, it only gonna go when it's, yep, now it's perfect. What I did is I use a switch to tell me that, okay, if one of the person head nods, then turn the switch turn on. If the switch is turned on, then I can reverse, because my head is now here. But if it's turned off, then don't do this. Like if it's turned off, that means the switch is turned off, that the head is not on my head is somewhere else. So that is why I did it. So now it works. I can call it. I can just put it away. Let's try to test it out on the other participants as well. So we have 5 participants, and this is this is me, and this is this girl, and this is this guy. Okay, let's see. This guy blinks very fast. So I'm gonna just call the head on everyone, and somebody blinks and it goes away. I did not blink. I just calling it. Okay, somebody blinks. I'm just calling it, and whoever blinks it just takes it away. And you see that some of them it's not working. It's just because they're out of sync right now. Some of the channels, some of the messages are lost. But if I do this again, they will be sync soon. Yep, working like a charm. Okay, any questions in this particular setup, in this understanding of the capability of these patches? Tell me, and then we can do some sort of things with the script, because we haven't used it yet so far. So far, the script we have not used it. Even if you delete it, everything's gonna work. So we're gonna make the use of the script, but right now we just use the patches to do everything. Okay, do we have any questions, please? Okay, we're clear. All right. It's interesting because video calling effects, it's something that not many people are familiar with. Like they've started being familiar with it now, but it's not one of the popular things on Instagram at the moment. But increasingly getting popular now. So it's good. There are a lot of hackathons coming up as well. There was one recently on group calling effects. By the way, this one hackathon is coming up. I think it starts on 31st May. It's by SparkAir. I think you should definitely participate. And you have to make effects on plane tracker, the world object. And we have done like 2-3 effects in the plane tracker. So if you have attended the session, pretty good. If you have not attended the session, you can just go back to the recordings and okay, welcome to Cap is here. You can go back to the recording and you can watch those plane tracker effect, like how to make an object into the plane and plane tracker, and then you can utilize like I know like when we do assignments and everything. When we do assignments, it's very kind of difficult, not difficult, but it's confined. You have to do things that are you're told to do. Okay, do this and do that. But our goal here is to just to tell you about the functionality. So in the hackathons like this, you're not confined. You're free to make whatever you want, and this is the best part I like about the hackathons, that there are some days that you just work upon something that you think is right, like you think that's your imagination, and that you end up making some great things. So I hope you join the hackathon. I'm gonna join as well the competition. So good luck with everyone. Good luck to you as well. Good luck to me as well. Okay, I think this is we're done. We're done with it. Um, what we could do is we could also give different colors to different users. Okay, so to do that, what I'm gonna do is the color of this head is of course a material, and I go to this propeller head and I see that there's this normal, there's this diffuse, and there's this diffuse, and then okay. So how can I change the colors of these guys? So let's try to figure out how to change the colors. So just I'm gonna take everything and put it on none. I'm gonna put it on none, and this is the material used with this, and this is the texture that gets this diffuse, and this is why the cap is colorful for us like. And the alpha of this color, I think we can change the color, can multiply it with something. So I'm thinking, okay, what you can do is you can have a value and give it a color, like maybe the color is super red, and if this is red, so I'm gonna give my alpha from this, and the swizzle the color values from this guy. So color value is my X, Y, and Z, and if I pack this as a vector 2 to the alpha of this, it should give me like some different color, right? Because it is now multiplied with the color that I gave it to, and the alpha with the alpha. So this is how I can change the color of that. There are a couple of ways also, like you can multiply this RGBA entirely with some other color, that can also work out. But let's change the alpha so we keep the properties of the like the details of the cap. So now I know that I can change the color, and what I want that different user has a different color. Okay, now the participant ID comes to the picture. So what we do is we click on the script and we just drag it inside. Once you drag it inside, it will give you an index. So when you're opening your project, this index is always 0, because of course you're the user, so you're always at 0. Now if I have like 4 participants, so this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So this is how the indexing works. So we're going to utilize that. That means, and it's going to load the same for everyone, except that when I open the filter, it's going to be 0. When you open the filter, the same filter, it's going to be 1 for you. Okay, because we are on the same video call. That means that I can use an option picker, and based on the who are you should have a different color. Simple as that. And that color will change everything. We don't have to send it on any multipair channel, because we're getting different values for different users here. So let's say I think whatever color we want to put in here, let's say this color, the number 1 color is I'm gonna go with different colors here, and just pick any color. This doesn't matter, like we just want to test it, but any which color you like is always good to your eyes. Okay, and I gave this color to that guy. And for me, this is the number 0, and for me, it's always going to number 0. It's not never going to change. But for everybody else, it's going to be a different color now. Like everybody has like a cap, but like a different color cap. And we did change this little bit of parameter of that, and each of our friends will wear a different cap rather than the same cap that we were wearing. And let me see who does that. If I see, I also will have like a different colors everywhere. Let me also have myself here so that everybody can blink and goes away. So when I do this, I can see the different color caps on my head, and when I do this, goes away. So this is the use of the because of the participant ID. When this is right now 0 for me, but if my friend whoever loads the filter, it is going to be 1 for him, and similarly like different IDs for that. That means I can also do something. Let's say if my participant ID is exactly equal to 2, is exactly equal to 2, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a color cycle. The color cycle gives me colors. Okay, so color cycle I may have in my recent no. Okay, so color cycle is a patch. Basically, you can just color cycle. It just changes colors over time, and it's very easy to make. Also, you can make it yourself as well. But we'll just save some time to use this, and so just like a combination of few grabs and made it as a patch and made it available for you by other creators. So I think this is from Spark here only. So I'm gonna say if my participant ID, if my participant ID is exactly equals to 2, then do something. Then what? Then if then else, then my color becomes this. My color becomes cycle. Mhm. Hmm. Apparently, we can use the colors here. Let me check with this. Okay. So I think even if I put it here, why is this? Yeah. Okay. Now it's better. I think it's because of the conversion that we just removed it. Let's see if this works for the number 0. Let's see if this works for the number 0. I can see that the colors are changing. Okay, the colors are changing for me for the number 0 right now. See, you can use the exactly 0 as well, by just like exactly number 2. Exactly number 2 is this one, this color. All right, this 0, 1, and 2, this is the color. So I can directly pass this to number 2. It's going to work for me. But let's use this condition for something else. Right now we just didn't change anything for sure. We just changed the color of one of the hats, and then that's going to keep changing colors. That one of the hats. So if I call the hats and I see that one of the hats, and this is the one, this is 0, probably number 2, user number 2. This has the ID number 2, and it's going to keep changing the colors, and not anything else is going to change the colors. So this is just an example, like we wanted to do something with, but we can show some things in the filter, like if my user number 2, 0, 1, and 2 is getting those colors, then I can just say that, okay, use a canvas and use a text, some just an example to show something. So this is, I'm going to show in the quite in the center of the screen. So I'm just going to use the center of the screen and also come to like the middle of the center. And I'm going to say multiple color. This should have like multiple color. The one who has the multiple color should be the one to show this text. Okay. And Right now it's visible for me also, it's going to be visible everywhere, but I'm going to set the visibility of this to, let's say, when you are number two, when you are participant number two, then only it's going to be visible. Okay, so that you understand that this variable is doing a lot to us. It's a very wonderful number that we're getting out of it, and we can do like so many things for each participants. We can do different things in the color in the video call. So let's try and then let's see that how is it working now. Okay, we should have 5 participants, and so it sees that this is the number, this is the one who has the multiple colors. Now we know which has the multiple color, right? We already know. So this guy has the multiple color because that's where we shown it. So we could do like we could identify participants like that. If for an example, if you're testing when you're making effects, it's a good practice that you can have like user one, and then you can have multiple of them. You can create multiple of this text box. Like let's say we are testing 5 users. So when it is one, so we can call it number one. This we can call it number two. This we can call it number three. This we can call it number four. Let's call it number five. Okay, right now everything is visible, but what we're gonna do is when this is one, then it should be visible. So right now it's like I'm gonna delete the multiple colors because we don't need it. So whenever my participant ID is one, it should show the number one there, so that I can identify which one is my user one, which one is my two. So this is just for testing, because when we develop effects, we should know like what's going where. So when you do this, what you can do is that there's a option sender, and this option sender has a like a Boolean type. So if I go to option sender and say like number one, then whoever has the default, by default it's invisible, and whoever got the correct participant index for me is going to be 0. So when it's 0, it's going to make it visible. So I'm going to take all of these, connect their visibility to each of them. Like this, and you can see that this is number 2 and this is number 1, and that's it. So it is saved now. We're gonna save it. Save now. I'm gonna run it again. Okay, you can see that this is my number 2, this is my number 3, this is my number 4, and this is number 5. So these IDs are there. They're assigned on the priority by wise, like who joined first. Okay, so let's say I made this video call, and this girl joined a little later. So if she joined the call and she drops the call, let's say she drops the call as participant 1, and she drops the call, but if she joins back, she'll always have the same ID, like number 4. She will always be at the number 4. Let's say if I delete the participants as well now, and if I go back and join her again, this is number 4. If I end this call, and if she rejoins the call, she'll be number 4. If like when there are 4 participants, of course. So you can see that the index doesn't change, but of course it adjusts itself like in the number of participants. Right now there are like 5 participants. So if there are only 2 participants, then of course they can't have the ID number 5 or 4. They'll have the ID distributed among like 1 or 2, like that. So now we have this number clear. We can use this number for testing and see what's happening on number 2, what's happening on number 1. So we can do that. This is working well. Okay. Again, this is a very important logic. Just a logic, important logic, because because you could do many things based on which number are you at. Um, let's say if initially I was sending that plane from here to there, so I can tell my multiplayer to just when this the box reaches here, maybe for when it reaches here, then change, like, give a pulse which moves something which was here to the center. So we could do that as well. So those are the things can be implemented. um, any questions? Hi, Christy. Okay. We still have to practice a little. That's good. Sir, please share the details about the hackathon. Oh, you don't know about the hackathon? All right. Let me start here. Hmm. Okay, so it's called the Spark Worlds. So when you go to this link called facebook.com Spark competitions, I'm gonna give it to the. Okay, so you can share it. This link is that's where you have the details about like what you have to make. So you have to make like a world effect that you can put in the world, and you can look at the prize money. Like first prize is like $20,000, and the second prize $15,000, and it's achievable. I'm telling you. I remember one of the competition I participated, and although I was busy with other work, but I did participated, and not just I won the money, I learned so much. Because I was open to do anything. There was no pressure from anyone. Like if you work for a client would say to like, okay, move this guy a bit right, move this guy a bit left, change this color to this, do this and that. And sometimes it just doesn't make sense for us, because as a creator we want our imagination to be there, because the way we think about AR, maybe our clients may not be able to do that. But yeah, we can now in these competitions and hackathons, you can, yeah, your region is global. Your work is going to be visible in the entire community right out there. And there's like a lot of prizes, like $20,000, $50,000, $10,000. Like even if you're like until 500, you get like $300. So do participate. This is important. It's going to give you like a lot of confidence in yourself. I tell you, I made like 4 to 5 filters in that, and I was at 12th position in one of the hackathons last year, and I got little over than this money, like not little more than that, which is a good money, right? Which is a good push for yourself to be as a creator in the competition in the global realm of creators. So what you have to do is probably just go, yeah, just visit the link, and you'll get the idea of like what you have to do and stuff. Like go to the guidelines. And I know one of my museum of future and lens list. Which one are you talking about? So the one which is the museum of the future, I think it's a different one. And the lens list one is also different one. This one is by Spark only, so you can go to the, like, this is your hub, this is your Spark AR hub. You have all the effects where you launch the effects, and you will also see the competition tab. When you go to the competition tab, you'll see that and the top at the top, like, this is the only competition running right now. It starts May 31 and ends as 21, so you have like good 20 days to make something. And okay, Christy. Okay, okay. Can you share the link in the chat? I think you will get it soon. Varun, can you share the link to the chat? Okay. Can you share the effect that you share in the hackathon? Sure, why not? I think my portfolio. You can visit the portfolio. I think some of the portfolios there. So the one that I made for the one was this one. So we had this helmet on, and then this kind of like when you blink, it opens up, and then you open your mouth. It's just like, so we were given some textures and some helmets that time, so we were just make something like this. And the one that I made was this. So you kind of like electrify your, like when you blink, it's kind of give some lines to your eyes, and it just electrifies it. The one that I made, and there are a couple of others I made as well, but I think they're not listed here because I hid them now. And this is my profile, by the way. There's a couple of work I did for Meta, and this one I did for Samsung. This was for HSBC, and there's a couple of effects. I really like this one. It's one of my favorite. I work with Goa, so Goa. I was like fortunate enough to work for these clients and there. So, and this one is like again for HSBC. The one we were doing the target tracking one. This was the target tracking, and yeah, this is the recent one I really made about like kind of lightning like that. All right, enough about me. This is also very interesting. Although it looks very simple, the squares are coming just like coming off the screen, but this filter is compatible with Ray-Ban stories. If you see like Ray-Ban glasses, so if you wear Ray-Ban glasses and if you do cycling, so your way is kind of like you go through these things like it looks like you're kind of driving in a tunnel of squares, sort of. And yep, enough about my filters. Okay, can we come back to the project and any more questions that we have? Very, I think. How was the concept? How did you like group calling? Are you excited about like wow, like such a nice concept, or you're just like okay, it's just another concept on the Spark Air? How do you like Spark Air as like this uh, group calling effect? Is there something to excited about? Because now you can like make effects and try it out with your friends, like especially when you make these filters, you have to test them out. Like when I was making filters, I made couple of accounts and I used to video call to myself, and I'll have like three reference of phones, and then I'll do something in this phone. I'll check, okay, did my pulse received or not? But of course you can test in the simulator, but you have to test real time as well for once. So it was exciting for me. Multipeer was like I started making multipeer like video multipeer effects, and then I was making them for a while. Let me show you one of the effect that I made for. I think it's not here. Okay, it's not here. Should have been here, but so basically this effect I made it to happen like on the all the participants. So like let's say I am drawing something else and my other friends are drawing something else, and the combined drawing is appearing on all the screens. So this is what I did for the hackathon, for the group calling effect, not the hackathon. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Think we are done quite early. Any questions? Anything that you want to talk about? Any problems that you're facing in the assignments, or yeah, we can address them now. If you have any questions, any of you, anything particular, just type it and I'll just show you how to do it because we have time. So yeah, feel free to ask some questions. Okay, I think the questions appear in a time, so I'm gonna wait a bit little. What else I can teach you in here? Okay, I think we're quite thorough with the concepts. Yeah, another thing that you can take care of, like, always try to make your effects like in this square, like in the center of the screen. Like when you're making video calling effects, try to, like, if you're putting some elements or if you're putting some things like head head or glasses are okay. But let's say if you're trying to put some things at the corner of the screen in here, then it's not recommended for video calling effects. Or if you do something in here, it's also not recommended. Also at the bottom, try to keep things in, let's say, tentatively in this rectangle. Like if you want to put some things, because what happens in the video calling effects, everything gets smaller and smaller and smaller, like when there are number of participants. So anything that you put in these areas, it's probably not going to be visible. So it's better that you use rectangles and then you use things like in this corner. Another thing is, if you're testing this filter, then the one is okay, but the two, the three number that we were looking at, they will be kind of opposite. They will be opposite to in the real effect. In the simulator, you can't see that simulator. It's okay, but this five will be like inverted, because that's how the things were. Like the when you video call, the other person is talking to you like that, like he's talking to you like that, and I'm talking like that. So when it disappears on your screen, it's inverted. So we need to take care of that. What you can do is you can create, I mean, like we have to take like a bigger example for that, but I'll just tell you how to do this. You just take whatever you want to, like, let's say text. Let's talk about text. So we just go to the scale, which go to scale, and the X scale, we just put it to -1. Okay, so now you see that when you put it to -1, it's opposite. All right. But make sure that when you change it, you just change it for the particular participant, not for the user or not for everybody else, just for the participants. And to do that, also there are a couple of methods that you can do. You can duplicate it also. Like if you duplicate it, and all of these things, they should be enabled for, let's say, participants here, participants. So when you do that, for the, if you uncheck it, then this is only visible for the user, and it is visible for the user. This is number one. But let's say all of these things, they should be visible for just for the participants, not for the users. So then that's what's going to happen. But then we need to make sure that everything of them has to be, because of the participants, they has to be at the -1 scale. Okay, because that's what we have to invert, and these things will be only visible on the user like that. So because every participant has a user perspective and a participant perspective. So for them, every user perspective should be seeing things as they see, like not inverted. But for every participant, it has to be inverted. Okay. So whoever we picked up to be the participants, like these participants, their scale has to be -1. And for the user, which are like enabled at just the user, then that's okay. So if you're using it now we have separated the users and the participants. But if you want to delete this and just work with the just one, then you have to enable both of them. Okay, because we have enabling for both of them, users and the participants. Another way to do it, let's say whatever you want to change, so we take this as a like object, like everything which comes inside it, we take this as an object and we pass it to the scene render pass. Well, these are some things I'm just making you familiar with, like, because we have got extra time, and these are some tips and tricks I learned over time that better to know couple of ways to do things so that you can decide which one is better for your requirement. So if I take this, I can see that this is just going to give me some numbers, and wow. What? My Spark is weird sometimes. So I'm just gonna not close it because we can't close it. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Excuse me from that. Okay, my mouse is not working anymore, so I have to switch it. Any which way. So what I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to. Okay, let me save it and restart it. Can't save it also. Save it. Okay, now it's fixed. Well, what I wanted to do is that I take this canvas, and when I take this canvas, I'm gonna call like everything is like my user. I'm just gonna take an example. Okay, I'm not putting anything in here. So let me take something very new. So I'm gonna have a null object. I'm gonna call it user, and I'm gonna have another null object. I'm gonna call it like participants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this user, whatever user comes, and put it on a scene render pass, which is going to be my scene object, and give it a transparent color because I don't need a black color. And this is what my user is, and my participants are probably. So this is just to invert things. And how do I invert it? I take this output, put it in like a shader render pass, and this texture, I'm going to take this texture and a texture transfer, and this transfer is the similar thing that we do with the when we adjust with the with the respect to the screen, like resize the screen. So similar, we not resizing, but we just inverting it. So we just change it differently. And I can render this to a material. I can take a material and I can render this to, let's say, canvas or something. So right now, like whatever was there, it's just inverted. So let's tries to, if I try to put 3D text in here, so you can see that whatever text was here, that just become inverted, and now I have like a completely opposite of that. So this is the another trick that you can do, and then you can let's just render it in a rectangle and show it whenever you like. So this is another example for that. Okay, can now we have a couple of questions. I like it. Okay, how can we connect multiple transition patch? Okay, I have to tell you some things. Like when you ask your questions, just be a little bit descriptive, and how to practice that. You can just go to the our Reskill group, and you can try to format your question, because this is something you have to learn eventually. Like what is the problem statement that you want to fix? So right now I know that I have to connect multiple transition patch, but to what? Like to what do I want to do with it? So let me try to understand and address your question: how to connect multiple transition patch. Now this is a transition patch, and I have multiple transition patch now. So what do you want to connect with them? So there are a couple of things that you can do. Is like let's say if there's an animation running, and what I want to do is that I want this animation to go from 0 to 1 first. Like let's say I have a number here, and I have a number here to just to be short. That this number should first go from 0 to 5, and then after that's finished, this should go from 5 to, let's say, 15. What's going to happen now? This is like two transition patch. I've connected them, and this is my output. This is my values, my output. So what's going to happen is that this is going to go from 0 to 15. But let's say this is going to go to 0 to 10, and this will start from this ends. Okay, so this is the progress that I'm going to get, and I would need another progress. I can use the same progress, or when this is completed, I will use that animation again and then use that progress. So Sandesh, you can have a look, and if it is the same thing that you're asking, then that's fine. If there is anything else that you want to refer, then let me know. So when I screen tap, this is going to change the progress of this. In 1 second, it's going to reach to 10, and when 1 second is over, this is going to start from where it ends, which is 10, and it's going to end at 15. So just notice this number. Okay, this can be my one position that I want to give. So if I screen tap, you can see that number changing from 0 to 15 in the 2 seconds of total time. You want to move the object to the multiple positions. Okay, so yeah, you can use the similar concept. So let's say your object was initially here, then you wanted 0 to 10, so object moved like initially here, then object move here, and then once it is here, then multiple position is somewhere else in the y, so that then this transition can control those values. So this is the exact way to answer your question. This is the exact way to do it. Again, you can also do some couple of other things, like if you want to have like multiple positions in an option picker. Okay, so let's say this option picker has like couple of preset values, that this is number one to do something, and then this goes to like a position of my propeller hat, which is something else for now. Maybe this participant. So let's say I want to change the position of this guy. So what I'm going to do is maybe I can change those positions based on some transitions, like some sort of transition is giving values to number one. So there's a some path that option number 0 is following, and there's some other transition which goes to like number 2, and there's some path that number this is following, and based on when this is activating, based on this is activating, I can change my option, so that right now initially this is the one which is changing it everything, so number 0, and then I want to go with number 1, so probably I start with like 5 or whatever, and then I can just go somewhere else. So this is how I can do multiple. This is one of the ways. There are plenty of ways you can use this patches based on your needs. Okay, can we connect two logics to speaker volume at the same time? What do you mean by two logics? This is a speaker. We can't use a speaker in a video calling effect, but I'm gonna just save it and share you with later. So I'm gonna open a new effect now. In this new effect, we'll take one speaker, and we have to change the volume of the speaker. So how two logics? What two logics do you want to have? Let's give me an example. The two logics. What do you mean by two logics? Like, I think your question is similar to what Sandesh was asking. So you can have like two sort of things to go in here based on some sort of logic. So I'm waiting for your logic to like what you want to do exactly with it. For example, I can take one example to have like two logics. One logic can be like when we do is that when we have a speaker, when the filter loads, usually the music is higher, but when it starts the game, maybe it's lesser, like kind of that. So let's say on the screen tap, when I do screen tap, this music should be having an animation to make a transition from since it's just a number, so I'm gonna go with number. So if I screen tap, this should give me the volume should be reduced to 0.5. This is 50% of the value. But if I blink my eyes, so I'm gonna have a face tracker, and if I blink my eyes, If I blink my eyes, then what I want to do is I want to change the values to, let's say, point 3, point 2, 0.25. Okay, it's half of it. So when this happens, then I'm going to use another animation and go from a transition from, and the transition would be like, let's say I can just completely use a new number, but my last, it's always better that what was the last value of the speaker, so that we can have a smooth transition. If my last value was 0.5, and if I go from 1 to let's say 0.2, then it's going to be like louder and then come back. So it's better to use the final value that I got from here, and then I'm going to go for like 0.2, 0.2, and then I'm going to connect this to my volume. Then you'll see that if I refresh it, the initial value is 1 because this animation hasn't been triggered. So it's going to take this start value, and my start value is the start value of this, which is 1. So this 1 is coming to you. So this is the same thing right now because no animation is working. And once I screen tap, it's going to first change to 0.5, and then if I blink now, it's going to change to 0.2. Two logics, one output, one consumer patch. Hi Shikhar, I know I did not get that. I read your question. I did not completely get it because, but you can explain me here. It's okay. When I screen tap, change the volume to 20%. That's 0.2, and I mean the create a patch, randomize the volume from 20 to 50. Yeah, you can randomize it, use a randomized patch, but randomize will always receive a patch. Like let's say screen tap, you asked for a screen tap, right? One screen tap, change the volume to 20, which is like 20%. And if you want to do some random thing, so let's say instead of having it this animation patch, we have like a randomize random patch. It's gonna give you values from 0 to 1, and this is for the, so initially I'm not sure what you want, but these are the two things which should decide the volume. So if you screen tap, then the volume should go to like 0.2 from 1, and but if you, what was your second logic? Create a patch to randomize the volume. But yeah, but how do you want to randomize the patch? Like there should be some pulse. So for an example, I'm taking the blink, and you can take any to connect it here. So that should give me that. So if I blink, then if you screen tap, then this should happen. If you blink, then this should happen. So you need to create a logic for that. So if you screen tap, then if then else. Okay, so if I screen tap, then this is going to be true. Okay, but if you blink, then this is going to be not true. Okay, if you blink, then this is going to not true. That means initially if you screen tap, then this is okay, but if you blink, then I have to take a randomized value that I'm getting from here. Don't worry, I'll rearrange it for you. So this should be my volume. So just to make it clear, if I screen tap, then this is the condition. If you screen tap, then it should be true, and this will give you the first one. But if I then if I blink, then this will not be true, and this will change it to that. I hope this is clear, but you can always modify it according to your needs. Yeah, works. You can just connect it here, loop, animation, whatever. Okay, where were we? We were connect to logics. Okay, so are the results published for the assignment 1? Not yet. The results will be announced. I think I would have to talk to Reskill about that. We haven't really looked into all of the assignments. Like I have received some of the assignments which you were sharing with me earlier, but I have to sit and go through everything. Okay, we're out of time, kind of. Assignment 1 result, you'll get them. Can we do custom animation, meaning custom animation for multiple positions for the same object? Custom animation meaning multiple position. Yeah, Avinash, we can do. I think you already understood it. Okay, you got it. Okay. Thanks for explaining. You're welcome. I mean, I create a patch to randomize the volume. Yeah, you be just can we update us more on these competition? Can you update us on these competitions? Just try to go through the link that I just shared, that Varun has shared, and try to read it. And if you have any, yeah, I'll update you. You want an update? Sure, I will update you and try to join the community, the Spark Air community, the Reskill community. We share things like on time. I think we also share about this as well. Okay, I think Shekhar, your doubt is clear. I think your this is the I understood your question and the messages, but I was not sure like which logic are we talking about here. So always be descriptive about your question so that it's easier for me to answer to understand it. And yeah, so I hope this is clear. That's okay. Okay, perfect. Well, Varun, over to you, and you're welcome, Shekhar. No worries.
Thank you very much for all the guys. I would like to inform once that I have shared the attendance form in the link in the chat section. You all can kindly fill that form. And for all those students who are asking about hackathons and all these things, you can join the Reskill X Sparkyar creators group on Facebook, as well as you can follow us on our LinkedIn or Instagram handles. We are soon going to conduct some amazing hackathons where you can win some great prizes. First of all, we are just building some kind of learning base for you all. So sir is coming up here and just giving you awesome knowledge and building the base so that you can come up with some amazing AR filters, and it's going to be fun in the hackathon as well. So regarding the same, you can follow our social handles. We'll be posting about the same on them as soon as we'll be launching the hackathons. So that's pretty much, and thank you everyone for joining in today as well. I
Sorry
hope.
to interrupt, Varun. Could you
Yeah.
share that Facebook group link right in the chat so I think everybody here can at least join it? And your questions that you have, instead of like DMing, I'm available there, no problem for me. But instead of DMing those questions, you can post them, like draft well and post them in the group. So what happens that not just me, there can be other creators, there can be some of you, they can answer those questions. So you'll have like a quicker time of resolution rather like waiting for me to answer. And as much as I want to answer them so quickly, trust me, I'm just like sometimes sandwiched among timelines, and so can be you as well, like for different times. So always try to use that group, and we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, exactly. Try to collaborate in the community. It's pretty nice. Like mentors are really busy with other stuff. So it's really nice for you as well to grow and learn. I have shared the Facebook group link, so you can join our group links there as well. We'll be posting about the AR effects and each and everything. Yeah, one more thing. Whenever you are creating the AR effect, you can just post your AR effect there, tagging Naveen sir and Reskill. We'll just repost it, and other creators will also notice your efforts and all that stuff. So it would be pretty much nice. And that's all for this weekend. Thank you, everyone. I hope this was an insightful weekend for you all. And thank you very much, Naveen sir, for sparing your precious time with all of us. We are humbled to have you, and see you in the next session on next weekend. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Bye. Good night.